Hello everyone, hope you're all staying safe. And the progress that we've been making on this, pretty well finished on the right hand side of the car, working my way around to the left. And this hole for the top is rotted out. So I've laid out some witness marks and made me a little pattern. Cut out the patch. And get ready to weld it in. Got it all welded. Ground. You see they're in the blue areas. I've got this little crosshatch. Got me some alignment marks on my template. Line everything up and locate the hole. Hole nicely located and drilled. That spot's done. Working my way around. This panel we bought it as a replacement panel. I just felt like that was a little too far gone to try to make. For carefully cutting out the rusted part, I removed the captured nut and installed it into the new part. The panel fit reasonably well, but it was too long. I had to notch it out and weld in that top nut and make it fit the door. Other than that, it was not a lot of reshaping involved. Got everything prepped, plug welds drilled. Here everything's welded in. I was able to weld the seam here in the back on the inside, so didn't have to butt weld it. Got the insides of that done. So working our way on around, got it into the same rust area that was on the other side on the cowl panel. It's not quite as bad as the other side. However, if you look at this closely, catch the light right in here, the factory had an alignment problem and they just smacked it with a big old 2x4 and made it fit. And here I was able to use my original pattern, just folded everything backwards, laid it out, and cut to fit. Nicely fitted in. Got that part welded, ground down, and I couldn't stand the other front section of it. It wasn't so much the rust that was there. I probably could have welded those holes up, but it was all bubbled up behind it. So out it came, new patch in place, and ready to weld. Well, I got that one ready. I figured I'd just go ahead and work on this part back here. That way I get both of them ready to break the welder out and do it all at one time. This panel here took a bit of forming. It has a tapering compound curve in it that I ran some on the English wheel for a while. Got things close. I carefully cut out the original section, trying to keep all the angles undisturbed. And as you can see, once again, more rust between the panels, main reason for removing it. Spent some time fitting the panel. I like to check it against the original, both inside and out, to see how the shape is forming. I spent a lot of time on this panel. It took a lot longer than I expected. By the time I get and wiggle one side, it moved the other piece. Front section welded. I put a lot of extra buildup on the corner and ended up actually doing the final dressing down with a hand file. It made a really sharp edge. That's right there at the driver's window. You see it every time you walk up to the car. Need it to look nice. This piece is in, ready to stitch up. All welded up. Once again, I forgot to do the plug welds when I went to get the camera, but trust me, I will get them welded. My brother was waiting nearly all month for an opportunity to use my most favorite plasma cutter, and use it he did. Slice that stuff out of there like a hot knife through butter. And he has successfully whacked out that big old panel. And if you look closely, he seems quite pleased about it. There I tune loose with the spot weld drawing tool. It does a pretty good job when you can get it. It actually does a very good job. It has a specially designed bit. It cuts flat so it doesn't put a hole through the panel, and if you catch it right, it cuts it off almost smooth at the panel. There, he's doing the grunge work. In this side of it, we have to grind the welds out. All scrunched up in the car, and I have to admit, watching him doing this was a lot more relaxing than doing it myself. This is kind of the wind up. I haven't finished ground the panels in, but I've got it roughed down. I couldn't move the car around while he was in there grinding the other spot welds, and I certainly didn't want to interrupt him. In here is tomorrow's work. I don't think it's supposed to rain, so I need to be outside. I need to figure out how to pull a minor collision. Looks like the overriders crashed in on both sides, and I want to pull that out before I cut out the remaining section of the floor. Since it went in together, it's going to come out together. But thanks for watching all.